The following is a recap of the movie Antlers from the year 2021. In the beginning, a woman speaks to us in a native tongue, talking about men mistreating the earth, leading to the awakening of an evil spirit. In a small town in the state of Oregon, Frank Weaver leaves his son in the car to go back at work in his mad lab in the mine. The mine was old and abandoned. When about to enter, the man feels something was wrong. He looks around, but sees nothing. The man then follows a long tunnel to reach the lab, where he meets with his partner. The two are about to pack things up when they suddenly hear a loud screaming coming from a distance. The screaming repeats again and again. Frank says that it was not a human voice, but rather an animal, as the voice kept getting closer. The two then goes to check. The light suddenly cuts off, and while they try to escape, something attacks them. Frank's son Aiden hears the screaming and goes to check. He enters the mine to look for his dad. 3 weeks passes, and we meet Julia Meadows, a teacher at a local school. During the class, we see Lucas, the other son of Frank, is drawing something. Lucas, who is autistic, is always bullied around by his classmate Clint. When on his way back home, Lucas sees a skunk and is about to kill it. After entering the house, he immediately walks to a door with multiple locks. He listens for a while and then opens the door. When at the grocery store, Julia resists the urge to buy some drinks. When at home, we see the woman standing next to the piano, remembering some old memories of when she was a kid hiding from someone. Her brother Paul, who is the deputy, arrives at home. We then understand that Julia just recently came back home after she had left for 20 years. She then starts removing some pictures on the wall that has her father in them. We then see Lucas in his room cutting the head of his toy before starting to hear some noises from behind the door, as if someone was trying to break out from the room with the locks. At the school, Julia asks Lucas to read them the story he was drawing. The boy stands up and starts reading. The story speaks about 3 bears who live in a dark cave. The big bear was taking care of the 2 little bears, but after he was sick, he quits his job and his guts starts to darken. One day, Little Bear came back home to find that the 2 other bears had changed. The big bear became more sick and more violent because of the hunger. After the end of school, Clint finds inside of his backpack some dog excrements. He looks around for the culprit and sees Lucas staring at him. The two starts to fight. Lucas is then taken to the infirmary. Lucas's back is full of bruises. Julia immediately calls Lucas's house. While the phone rings, we see the person inside the locked door getting more frustrated and more angry, as we see through the keyhole his red eyes and pale face, behaving like an animal. After class is done, Julia follows Lucas around. She sees the boy standing outside a restaurant looking at the food inside, so the woman invites him for some ice cream. While they are eating, Julia starts investigating and asking some questions about Lucas's family. When asking about his father, Lucas immediately stands up and leaves after asking her to stop following him around. On his way back, the boy finds a dead raccoon corpse and puts it inside his backpack. Meanwhile, Julia is at his house and sees the door is open and hears some screaming coming from within, then immediately leaves the place. Later that night, Julia was talking to her brother as she apologizes to him for leaving him for 20 years. Then we see Lucas, who is chopping the raccoon's corpse that he found into small pieces and putting them in 2 plates. He then takes the plates to the locked room and leaves it on the ground. Suddenly his father comes out of the dark, behaving like a beast, and starts eating the food. He screams at Lucas, telling him to leave before retreating into the darkness. Soon appears Aiden, and Lucas gives him his portion of the food. The boy then immediately leaves and seals the door behind him. While playing the piano, Julia has some memories of her father mistreating her when she was young. She jumps up screaming and sees her brother Paul. After calming down, she asks him about the man called Frank Weaver. He says he was a drug addict. She asks why he is not put in jail, and the man explains that he is the only one to provide for his sons. She speaks to him about the strange noises she heard in his house. Paul tells her to not go there again without telling him. Lucas was drawing when he hears his brother calling for him, saying he was hungry. Lucas puts on his headphones and ignores him. The next day we see the boy go into the forest trying to hunt. The boy hears a noise and sees someone standing next to a corpse. Meanwhile at the school, Julia looks through Lucas's things and finds his drawings, and the woman is horrified. She immediately shows them to the principal, Ellen, and says that probably Lucas is being mistreated by his dad. The woman says that she will personally talk to his father. On her way back, Julia finds her brother talking to the man who found the corpse at the forest. The man tells his sister that a corpse was found, half of it in the forest and the other half in the abandoned mine. Paul thinks an animal is behind it. We then see Lucas bringing food to his little brother Aiden. A black substance comes from the eyes of the boy and from his mouth too. We see behind Lucas's father as his back is shining a red light. Lucas escapes immediately. The autopsy of the corpse shows that the body had received some strange wounds that he never saw before, saying that the bite markings are human. Meanwhile, we see Ellen arriving at Lucas's house. We see someone looking at her through the window. During class, Lucas was carving a strange animal head. After going inside, Ellen hears the crying of a child. She opens the sealed door and is shocked by the stench. The walls are full of blood. She climbs the stairs and there she finds Aiden. While talking to the kid, Frank arrives from behind her and attacks her. She tries to escape, but he jumps on her and starts eating her alive. He then suddenly stops and starts to transform. In the mine, the police starts searching deeper, where they find some strange bags hanged on the ceiling. The ex-sheriff Warren, who is from the native people, says that the bags are used to keep the bad spirits away. They find some strange antlers that belongs to no known animal. They then receive a missing call. Lucas is on his way back and hears a strange sound coming from the forest. He then meets with Clint, who is mad at him and starts annoying him. The two suddenly see something on the tree and Lucas immediately runs away while the creature attacks Clint. Lucas finally arrives at home and sees the principal's car. He quickly runs inside, where he sees the corpse of the dead woman. He can't find his father nor his brother. After following the traces of blood, he found out that they escaped from the window. Paul tells Julia that the principal is missing, while we see Lucas covering up her car and cleaning up all the blood. Julia tells her brother that she asked the principal to visit Lucas's father. Paul then goes to check Frank's house, where the two notice that the place smells like death. Meanwhile, Lucas is hiding inside. After no one responds after the screaming and the knocking, Paul and his partner leave the property. Next day, Clint's mother says that her son didn't come back home. Paul calms her down, saying he will find her son, saying that it has nothing to do with the recent events happening in the town. Julia decides to investigate on her own, and when she goes to Frank's house, she sees another car that wasn't there before. She removes the cover and discovers it was the principal's car. The police arrives immediately. They find the principal's body in the attic, eaten from the inside. They then find Frank's body. It was burned and disfigured as if something had crawled out of it. Lucas arrives and is immediately taken to the hospital. It appears the boy suffers from malnutrition and dehydration, and also appears to have some psychological problems. Julia decides to take in the boy to live with her, which starts a fight between the two siblings. When Paul says that she is projecting her old problems onto Lucas's situation, Lucas is in his room sleeping, remembering the day his father fell sick, while the two boys try to go inside the room while the father is inside, sick, with the black substance coming out of his mouth and his eyes. The man slowly falls into madness, but quickly puts locks on the door, asking from his sons to lock him inside and to not let him leave. Aiden falls sick too and is also locked with his father. Julia and her brother go to meet with the former sheriff, Warren. The man checks the bags they found in the mine and the drawings made by Lucas. The man then shows them in the book the drawing of a creature that he thinks was inside the mine, that the natives call a Wendigo, a human-eating spirit that constantly moves from one body to another. The man says that the only way to kill it is when it's eaten, by destroying its heart. On his way back, Paul receives a call that they discovered a body. Once there, he discovers it was Clint. The doctor says that half of the boy is eaten. Paul refuses the theory of a human-eating monster. Julia later takes Lucas home, and while done, Paul's partner is surveying the house. Julia inside tells Lucas that his father is dead, saying that they found his body, but the boy says that it was only his old father who was sick, saying that his new father is with Aiden. Then hears the screaming of a child and goes to check, while Lucas tells Julia that his dad will be back to take him away. Julia suddenly hears the scream of something, and the boy says that it was his father. Dan calls Paul, saying that something was in the shed. The man goes to check, while Julia hides inside the house. Dan finds Aiden, but is suddenly attacked by the Wendigo that kills him. Paul arrives and goes to check the shed. Meanwhile, Lucas escapes outside. Paul finds Dan on the ground and finds Aiden too, but he's too attacked by the creature. After fighting with it, Paul is left badly hurt and faints. Julia finds her brother in a bad state. She quickly helps him. She says that she's going to go after Lucas, who went to the mine, thinking he will find his little brother there. Paul insists on going with her, and they both go to the mine. After going inside the mine, the woman finds the two boys and also the Wendigo who is eating a black bear. She shoots the creature and she's attacked and thrown on the ground. Julia uses a torch to push back the Wendigo, then sticks a steel pipe into his body over and over, but the creature didn't die and starts attacking her. Lucas then stabs the creature in its heart. Julia quickly takes the knife. She opens the chest of the creature and pulls out its heart, but just like the myth says, the spirit of the creature goes inside Aiden. The woman tries to kill him, but Lucas stands in her way. She tells the boy that it was no longer his brother and that they need to kill the creature. She asks him to look away, and then she goes to kill the boy. After everything was over, Julia, her brother Paul, and Lucas were walking outside. Paul thinks that Lucas will change into a creature sooner or later, asking her if she could kill him if she gets attached to him. Julia leaves with Lucas, while we see Paul starting to cough. The man then swipes his eyes to see the black substance coming from it, sign that the man was touched by the curse of the Wendigo. And that was the end of the movie Antlers. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and see you next time. Bye bye.